Welcome to Aussie Finance Chronicles, where money, history, and power collide right here, down under. Before we dive in, remember our mission is simple: to ensure every Aussie is equipped with the knowledge to thrive financially. Did you know that before 1901, Australia wasn't one nation, but 6 separate countries? Each had its own army, its own stamps, and most importantly, its own customs duties. A businessman in Melbourne had to navigate international trade rules just to sell goods to Sydney. Federation wasn't just some patriotic impulse. It was a hardcore economic necessity for Australia's survival and prosperity. The biggest hurdle: the tariff wars. New South Wales championed free trade, while Victoria was fiercely protectionist. Imagine a truck full of goods from Melbourne getting hit with a tax at the border with NSW. These internal barriers were strangling national economic growth. This led to the million-dollar question in the Federation debates. Who pays for the new nation? If the new federal government took over customs and excise duties, which was the main income source for the colonies, how would the states survive? The lion in the room was money. The push for federation was driven by 3 major shared problems. First, the ridiculous. There are weigh gauges. Moving goods across state lines was a logistical and financial nightmare. Second, defense. Each colony had its tiny, token army, completely ineffective against any serious external threat. And third, the massive banking crash of the 1890s. This crisis revealed just how fragile 6 separate financial systems were. A unified nation needed a unified economy. The solution was revolutionary for its time: a customs union. The new federal government would take control of all international customs and excise duties, as outlined in Section 90 of the Constitution, and abolish all tariffs between the states. This was the birth of a single Australian market, but it created a massive problem. Customs duties made up about 75% of the colony's total revenue. Handing this over to the federal government meant the states, responsible for schools, hospitals, and railways, would go bankrupt. This was a life-or-death issue, especially for smaller colonies like Tasmania and Western Australia. The deadlock was broken by a man named Edward Braddon, a Tasmanian premier. His solution, the Braddon Clause, or Section 87, was a critical compromise. It guaranteed that the federal government could not use more than 1/4 of the customs and excise revenue for its own spending. The remaining 3/4 had to be returned to the states. Free traders like George Reed hated this, calling it the Braddon Blot, because they felt it shackled the power of the new federal government. But without it, there would have been no Australia. Now, this wasn't a forever deal. The Braddon Clause was designed for a 10-year trial period, from 1901 to 1910, known as the Bookkeeping period. During this time, the federal government had to meticulously track exactly how much customs revenue was collected in each state, and how much the Commonwealth spent in that state. It was an incredibly complex, bureaucratic nightmare. They literally had to track some imported goods as they moved from one state to another to ensure the revenue was allocated correctly. This created a new political battle. The federal government soon found it was collecting far more money than it needed for its constitutional duties, resulting in a large surplus. The big debate became, should this surplus money be returned to the states, or should it be used for national purposes, like defense, or the groundbreaking idea of a national age pension? This is where federal power began to grow. Under Prime Minister Alfred Deakin, the Commonwealth started using this surplus to fund new social programs, effectively reducing the amount returned to the states. It was the first major power grab, where federal financial muscle grew at the expense of the states. Remember, if you're finding this deep dive into our financial past valuable, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. It helps us continue our mission. Together, we can build a more financially savvy Australia. Really proud to share that a large portion of the revenue from this channel goes to supporting charities for children and those in need. Let's build a stronger, more honorable Australia by understanding our history. Thanks for being here.